All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about a struggle that I think we all face, right? It's that constant battle for focus in a world that is just packed with distractions. And we're going to do it by exploring a really powerful story about discipline.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like that? You know you've got the talent, you've got a big goal, but it feels like your own mind is the biggest thing standing in your way, just pulling you in a million different directions at once? If that sounds familiar, you are absolutely going to connect with the story we're about to get into.
Okay, so let me introduce you to our main character, Ryan. Now, Ryan is a genuinely smart kid. He's talented, and he has this amazing dream. He wants to become a doctor. You know, on the surface, it looks like he has everything he needs to make it happen.
But here's the thing, and this is where it gets so relatable. There's this huge gap between his potential and his actual reality. On one side, you've got the smarts, the talent, these big dreams. But on the other side, you've got a mind that just won't sit still. He was an expert procrastinator, constantly getting sidetracked by his phone, social media, or just whatever thought popped into his head.
And this was his go-to line. The classic, "I'll do it later" trap. I mean, come on, we've all been there, right? Ryan honestly believed his intelligence was like a free pass, that his natural talent was all he'd ever need to just get by. He figured later would eventually show up. But, of course, it never really did.
Well, you can probably guess where this is going. That whole mindset, it led him to a really painful turning point, a day of reckoning, if you will. It was the day the results for the school's scholarship exam were posted, a huge, huge step towards his dream of becoming a doctor.
The result was just crushing. He failed. And what made it so much worse was watching his friends, the ones who were studying consistently, they all passed. The same teachers who used to praise him for being so bright now just looked at him with disappointment. He felt completely ashamed and totally alone. And in that moment of failure, something just clicked. It was this powerful realization. He finally understood that it wasn't his intelligence that was the problem. Not at all. It was his complete lack of discipline. He knew he'd wasted his own potential, and right then and there, he made a decision to change everything.
So what does he do? He decides he needs help, and he seeks out a mentor. He finds Coach Miller, the school's PE teacher, who had this legendary reputation for helping students build the exact things Ryan was missing: focus and self-control.
Now, Coach Miller didn't just sit him down for a lecture. Nope. He did something way cooler. He took Ryan out to the archery range, handed him a bow, and said, "Hit the center of the target." Ryan shoots and misses, badly. When the coach asked what he was looking at, Ryan admitted he was seeing everything: the trees, the field, the entire board. And that's when the coach hit him with this incredibly simple diagnosis.
And that, right there, was the whole lesson. The coach explained that a great archer sees only one thing, the target. Everything else just fades into the background. Ryan's mind, on the other hand, was busy with everything but the target: his phone, YouTube, what his friends were doing. To succeed, he had to learn to lock his attention onto his goal and nothing else. Okay, so the archery analogy makes perfect sense, right? But how do you actually do that in your daily life? Ryan needed a real, practical game plan, so the coach gave him 4 simple but unbelievably powerful rules to train his mind. So here's the framework the coach laid out. First, control your thoughts. When you notice your mind starting to drift, you have to consciously, gently bring it back. Second, create a routine, a really strict one. This teaches your brain when it's time to work and when it's time to relax. Third, and this one is huge, eliminate distractions. Put the phone in another room, turn off the notifications. And rule 4, probably the most important of all, practice every single day.
And this is the real secret sauce from the coach's advice. Discipline isn't some magic power you're born with. It's not about one giant heroic effort. It's the simple process of building small, consistent habits, day after day after day. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
So Ryan got to work. He didn't just listen, he actually did it. He made a strict schedule for himself. He turned off his phone when he studied. And every single time his mind started to wander, he would repeat his goal out loud: "I must become a doctor." And let me tell you, it was not easy. That first month was a real struggle, a constant battle against all his old habits. But he kept at it. By the 3rd month, he could feel his focus getting sharper. And by the 6-month mark, all that consistent effort paid off. He was at the top of his class. A few months after that, he had to face another huge exam. But this time, the outcome was completely different. He didn't just squeak by. He came in first place. And Ryan knew, deep down, this wasn't luck, and it wasn't just about being smart. This victory was earned through his newfound discipline.
But the story doesn't quite end there. About a year later, Ryan is standing on a stage receiving the very same scholarship he had failed to get before. And in that moment, he remembered the most profound lesson that Coach Miller ever taught him.
What a powerful metaphor, right? An untrained mind is like a wild horse. It just drags you around aimlessly, chasing every shiny object, every little distraction. But if you take the time to train it, to discipline it, well, then it becomes your greatest strength. It's the force that will carry you exactly where you want to go. This idea became Ryan's guiding principle for life.
So the whole story really boils down to this one simple truth. Your talent, your potential, your intelligence, all of that is amazing, but it needs a vehicle to get anywhere. And that vehicle is discipline. When you train your mind, you're not just getting better at focusing, you're building the road to your own success.
And that brings us to the final question, the one for you. If you were to truly train that wild horse, to really harness the power of your own focus, just imagine what you could achieve. So I'll leave you with this. Where will your trained mind take you?